On Saturday, December 31st, the Russian Federation fired more than 20 cruise missiles at Ukraine, 12 of which were destroyed by air defense forces. Today, the terrorist state of the Russian Federation again launched a massive missile attack on civilian objects of our country. Previously, the enemy launched more than 20 air-based cruise missiles using Tu-95 millisecond strategic bombers from the Caspian Sea and ground-based missile systems, he noted. The bloody battle for Bakhmut is still ongoing even though progress by Russian forces is slowing. Russia lost hundreds of troops and 16 armored personnel carriers in a single day, according to Ukraine's military. Ukraine's General Staff of the Armed Forces posted on Facebook its latest update of Russian losses, where it said around 200 Russian troops were killed in the Kherson Oblast. It added that troops were eliminated around the districts of Fedorivka and Kharkiv in the southern Ukrainian region on Friday. The update said that 115 Russian troops were wounded in the Zaporizhzhia Oblast and that Ukraine's forces had destroyed 5 units of Russian military equipment, including an anti-missile complex and an ammunition depot. In total, Ukraine's forces said on Saturday that the Russian death toll for the previous 24 hours was 710, taking the total since the invasion started on February 24 to 105,960, although Russian and Western estimates are much lower. Ukraine also said that it had destroyed 16 Russian armored personnel carriers and 3 tanks, with Russia now losing 6,075 and 3,029 pieces of the equipment respectively. Kyiv said that Russian shelling and airstrikes have continued, while there had also been further attacks from MLRS rocket salvo systems, including in the city of Kherson, the capital of the region of the same name recently retaken by Ukrainian forces. The enemy continues mortar and artillery shelling of populated areas along the right bank of the Dnieper River, the update added. It comes as Ukraine's Defense Minister Alexei Reznikov said that Russia was preparing a new mobilization order and would close its border within a week. In a video message in Russian, Reznikov said that borders would also be closed in Belarus and that those living in cities would be at risk of being called up to fight. Today you are thinking about how to decorate your festive table, he said, referring to the holiday season which includes New Year and Orthodox Christmas celebrations, but under the chiming clock you may not hear a knock at the door. It will be the military officer knocking, he said, as he appealed to Russians to oppose the draft and the country's leadership that has instigated the war. He added that if the war drags on, your personal chances of dying will increase, because the next mobilization phase will be followed by further ones. As Reznikov pledged the strength of Ukrainian resistance, he asked, "Answer yourself honestly, do you want to die next year or lose your arms and legs so that someone else does not go to prison?" The head of the Ukrainian military intelligence agency Kyrylo Budanov told the BBC that the new wave of mobilization would start on January 5th, as he described how fighting in Ukraine was at a deadlock, with neither side able to make significant advances. "We can't defeat them in all directions comprehensively," he said, as he reiterated Kyiv's call for more Western weapons. Neither can they. Meanwhile, the US-based think tank said that Russian troops have continued their offensive operations in the Avdiivka area, around 60 miles south of Bakhmut, which is located in the Donetsk Oblast in eastern Ukraine, where the pace of Russian offensive operations may have slowed compared to previous days. This daily update also added that the Ukrainian General Staff has said there were more settlements around the city that have become targets of Russian attacks. This inflection may indicate that the pace of Russian attacks around Bakhmut is slowing, the ISW wrote. This development may back the IS prior forecast that the Russian offensive there may be culminating, meaning that an attacking military force can no longer continue its advance. On December 24th, The think tank said that the Wagner Group, whose mercenaries are fighting alongside Russian troops, had suffered heavy losses and likely strained Russian forces' operational capabilities in Bakhmut. The city has been a focal point of the Russian offensive for several months, which Ukraine said has taken a heavy toll on Moscow's forces. Serhiy Haidai, governor of the Russian-occupied Luhansk region, said on Monday that thousands of Russian troops had died in the battle for the city. This daily assessment comes as British defense officials warned there was a realistic possibility that Russian forces will launch long-range strikes on Ukraine over the New Year period. The United Kingdom's Ministry of Defense MOD said on Saturday on Twitter that the strikes over the holiday period, which includes Orthodox Christmas, would be a move to undermine the morale of the Ukrainian population. Meanwhile, Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu said Saturday that victory for Russia over Ukraine was inevitable in a New Year's video message in which he admitted to a difficult military-political situation. Shoigu has been criticized by Mil bloggers for Moscow's failures in its invasion of Ukraine. However, he described the selfless courage and heroism of Russian troops fighting what he called neo-Nazism and terrorism. Kiev and the West have rejected Russia's assertion that it is fighting Nazis in Ukraine, which is the pretext for Russian President Vladimir Putin's invasion of the Eastern European country that started in late February.